just getting my camera set up. Give everybody a couple minutes to get on. I hope that you had a restful Friday night. Waiting for the feed to pop up on my laptop so that I can see comments. There we go. Hi, Lissa. Hi, Liz. Okay, Liz and Megan need to share where they are because I can tell that you're at some sort of retreat, but I was curious to know, is it like the Scrapbook Expo or something, you know, a private event? What is it? Okay, Liz and Megan. There we go. Got my sound muted. Oh, Amy's on here too. Good morning. Jeanette. Tonya, Tracy, and Tisha. Yeah, so we have a few people doing our event who are not on Facebook, but they're doing it with a friend. So they're part of our group too. Looks like my camera is a little better cooperating this morning. So we ended up last night, we picked up my daughter from Lauren from dance, and then we did get to sit on the patio at Fuzzy's and have our tacos, which was amazing. Hi, Megan. Okay, you're at a retreat house. Okay, cool. It looks like you had a pretty nice setup just based on your photo that I was looking at. I've been looking at the background of everybody's photos, looking to see where you're crafting. I'm gonna wait just another minute or so. Hi, Irene. So before I dive into our class this morning, we have our Saturday morning gift, and then we also have our Christmas ones that I want to share. So I think first I'm going to go ahead and open up our gift. So inside your package, you should have your little retreat box of goodies. Looks like this. I did this phrase, "Here comes the sun." That's what my shirt says today too. This was a special song for me. I mean, if you're a Beatles fan, you know this song, but during COVID, we used this song quite a bit when we made slideshows for teachers at the end of the year because we were hopeful that, you know, May 2020 was it and we would be back to normal by fall, which didn't happen, but I just love this expression. So inside your little box here, you should have some goodies. So I'm going to go through. So you should have 2 different acrylic shapes or words from Bella, and I love these, but a word to note, whenever you're using the Bella ones like this, make sure that when you do it, you pull the backing away from it because they will snap. I speak from experience. I've snapped a few of the words in half before and I've glued them back together and they look just fine, but they will snap. So just be careful. You should have a word or a phrase and some, you know, maybe rainbows, maybe strawberries, some decorative pieces. There should be some washi in there, a variety of washi tapes that are some from Simple Stories, some from Bella, some from Doodlebug, a different assortment. You should also have some Bella Pops. If you're familiar with the Doodlebug, Doodle Pops, Bella Boulevard came out with their version a couple years ago, and they're just adorable. And these go with the paper we use from our Make and Take and different items that you'll see throughout the weekend. They also always coordinate with any new Bella because they use the same color palette, which I appreciate a lot. You should also have some ribbon, summer colors or theme, and then mine doesn't, I already took mine out. You should also have some foam squares, both sizes, because I wanted to give you the chance to try out the ones that are my favorite. They are from Scrapbook Adhesives, and so you should have, here, let me find, you should have the big ones and the littler ones, and I'm just using, I've got these little strips that are the remainders because we cut it to fit inside the box. So that's your little treat for today, to say thank you for joining us. I'm excited to dive in. And now you've got some little goodies, and then you've got an extra storage container for when you go crop somewhere. All right, I'm gonna set that aside and set my little packaging aside here. Okay, so last night I hinted about this. This was our free gift from Simple Stories. And it's funny because I contacted Jody, my rep, and I said, you know, could you just send me a box of washi tape because I would like to spoil the ladies and just, you know, anything free would be great. And 2 days later, I had a huge box at my door filled with these, which was very generous, plus washi. So immediately I gave Gail homework and for myself, and I said, we've got to create some things with this package because I love attending retreats, mostly in person, but also virtually. But what I don't like is getting something and then throwing it aside and thinking, I'm never going to use this. So I wanted to show you how things can be useful. So we've got some different things that we came up with, and I did post a photo. Gail knocked it out of the park. Like, she's teacher's pet. Like, she did a great job. So I'm going to show you the first one that I did. I used a piece of cardstock that I added, and I made a little fold out mini book. And I only used the paper from the collection, and then I fussy cut a few of the pieces to add on here and rounded the corners. And so I've got this cute book, and like I said, I just added the Color Vibe cardstock that matched theirs to make the book. So that's one idea. These are great cards to use as your Christmas tags so that you can add, you know, to, from, they're adorable, and then fussy cut a flower or other design. You can, and it's got a cute back also. So tags are a very easy thing. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that, Lisa. Thank you so much. And I'm sorry, yesterday we were saying your name wrong. So I told Gail, I'm like, we have to make sure we say the right names today. So we've got Tonya and Lissa. I know both of those. All right. This is another card that the background is kind of the diagonal slice, which is trendy right now, and then just layered. Cut this card a little bit smaller and layered one of the larger 4x6 cards behind it. And then this is a card base that you can use as a greeting card. Then these are all the ones that Gail worked on. And some of them she just decorated so they're more like a Project Life card. And I wanted show you that she did add like the wink of Stella, and it's amazing what that does for it. I'm going to try to, hoping that you can see it by doing this, see the glitter, but it's, I bet you do. I'm sorry. I'm one who Lindsay is always butchered as the spelling. So I'm very conscious of people's names. Hi, Luciana. Oh, you're in Michigan. Okay. Oh, good for you. Yeah, I saw your messaging. All right. So she, on most of hers, has added this glitter and fussy cut. And this is another just Project Life card that you can add to a layout, that you can add in your pocket pages. And then she has some other ones that are greeting cards. And this one is really cool because she just took the word joy and popped it up from its original card. And then fussy cut the flowers and the evergreen. This one, she did the same thing, made it into a tag, but fussy cut the card and the sentiment. Super cute. And then, hold on, I'm gonna pull this one. Somebody commented on, it's got the glitter on the television and she cut the ornaments. This one, she embossed. So she used an embossing folder for this background piece. So she did add something to it and then cut out the flowers and the toys. And it's just a cool effect. So there are so many here. It's just to kind of spark your creativity. If you want to add to the Christmas album at all this week, next week, wait till December. I just wanted to show you that you can use these cards in many different ways without having to add the embellishments, the same ones that maybe came with the line. And they're, like I said, they're in the album. If you need to see close-ups of any more, oh, this is another one she embossed. This is hard to see, but it's a brick embossed. And then she just kind of layered some of the pieces and did the sled on there, which is really cool. So, like I said, she gets an A+. She knocked it out of the park. I'm gonna move these aside. And then I forgot to tell you this last night. This was our joke for the event. So you have your little place card here with your name on it. And I did this on purpose because now you can make a Facebook post and say something to the effect of, I'm so proud of myself, I got a bikini this summer. Because look, you have a bikini right here. You don't have to say that you wore it. You don't even have to say that you bought it. Just say, I got a bikini this summer, because guess what? Lindsay sent you one. So people are always posting those posts, you know, that they're proud of themselves for doing that. So you got a bikini. All right, I'm gonna set this out of the way. We are going to start this morning with our travel layouts. And I am going to scoot. I get to talking and my head bumps my camera. And I need to be careful not to do that. Let me tighten it just a little bit so that you can see what you're looking at. Okay. There we go. Now you can actually see the mat a little bit more, and hopefully it'll stay put. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. This line is brand new from Simple Stories this year. This was their travel line. And I actually ordered this way back in March or April at Creativation. And it was designed by a woman by the name of Kelly Bangs. And she's done printables and works for Illustrated Faith. And she just has adorable, everything she does I absolutely love. But she is now designing for Simple Stories. And so this was her first collection. I also have the Harvest collection on order that she's done for them, and she has more in the works, a Christmas one that I have on order. So she is just an all-around wonderful person, very talented designer, and I was so happy to see her work and support her in this way. So I placed a huge order at Creativation in April and was excited to use this, but my hesitation was she uses a lot of pink. So I hope that you can embrace the pink. If not, there's plenty of extra product so that you can pick and choose what you would like. But we're gonna start out with just cutting the few pieces that we need to cut on our cards. And then we'll be able to put the trimmer aside, because otherwise everything else is pretty much ready to go for you. So you should have your instruction sheets, a pack of the bits and pieces, a 6x8 paper pad, enamel dots, and your page pieces, which is going to be our title on one of the layouts. I love these. And one of the things that I'm going to kind of highlight with this class is incorporating a 6x8 paper pad into your layouts. And I do this a lot because the 6x8 paper pad usually has a few unique sayings that aren't in the collection. And it also is great for making cards. And they've usually got the 3x4 or 4x6 cards mixed in. So it's just a great addition whenever you're buying the collections to add the paper pad in also. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the sticker on the back. I feel like the sticker is a necessary evil, but I want mine out of the way so that I can flip through it. So you can see here there are title pages, there are different designs, and we're going to be using these, a few of them, on our layout. And then you'll be able to have the second half of the pad as extra for you to play with and use on your own, okay? All right, so since we have the paper pad here and ready, I'm gonna go ahead and tear out the pieces that we're going to need. Make sure I've got my paper pieces here. Yep, okay. Move these out of the way. All right, so when you're going through your paper pad, the second page are the license plates. And I like it because the print is smaller than on the larger 12x12 paper, which you'll see, you'll be able to compare the two, but I love the license plate paper. So we're gonna use that one, set it aside. We're gonna use this one. It's kind of like a mustard yellow with, I don't know, what are these? Like I don't know, I'm sure there's an exact term, but they're where you pinpoint your location. So I'm going to use that one. So those two so far. And then we're going to need this one that says travel time. That's going to be used as a title for our other page. Got those. And then I believe in my sample, I also used this one, but I might have given it to you at the last minute. So I'm going to tear this out just in case. And then we're going to incorporate those in. So then you still have a few extras, and then you have these cards, which are great to make greeting cards with. They're perfect. Okay. All right. So I'm going to set our paper pad aside for right now. All right. And then you should have a 3x4 cards paper and that has that gingham on the back. And then you should have their other paper, which is kind of their take on their journal card paper, but it gets annoying to cut because I'm usually cutting things in bulk because it doesn't line up this way, it lines up this way. So that's my type A complaint. So we're gonna take these two and use our trimmer and cut the cards that we need for today. I'm gonna set this out of the way. Get my trimmer here. All right, so get that paper strip off of there. Okay, so this first one that I cut at the top, this around the world, we're actually going to turn this one into a tag on our second layout. So we definitely need this one. I'm going to put it on my to be used pile. These other two, this bottom one we're using as an accent on one of the layouts. So this is a keep. This one is an extra. So I'm going to set it aside. I'll set it over here and start my pile. And then turn it this way. This one in the middle here with the key, we end up needing, but we're going to cut it smaller than what the 3x4 size is. So these two pieces are extras. Use them if you like, but I'm going to put them in my pile over here for right now because I don't need them. This card with the key on it, we're basically just going to trim off the excess on the top and the bottom so that it matches with on our layout. So it's going to end up being 2.5 by 2.5 square. So I'm just going to take, let me see, I think I'm taking 3/4, almost 3/4 off the top. Yeah, so mine's not exactly 2.5 that way because you don't want to cut off the bottom of the key. And then I'm going to, I just kind of eyeball it until I get it close to where I want because this one isn't as important that it's exact. So I'm pretty close to 2.5 by 2.5 on that piece. All right, and that's one that we will use. I'm gonna set it aside here in my pile. And then for the rest of these are just going to be extras that you can use for another project, or if you want to switch out one of the cards that I did, you could do that. This would be a really cute one to fussy cut. I like this one too, take all the photos. And these are great for greeting cards too. So I'm going to go ahead and set these aside. And then we will move on to this paper. Let me see if I can go up just a little bit so you can see the whole. Is that any better? Yeah, it wants to keep shifting back down, and I'm not sure. Having a case of the Mondays on Saturday. Okay, So for this one, we are going to need a few that are in the middle. So we're going to use this one that says guest check. We need the one that says check in, check out. We need the photo op and the we are open. So this, pretty much this whole strip we're going to take and use. And then the other ones, for the most part, I think we need this one that we're going to turn into a tag. And then I believe everything else will be extra that you can hang on to on this sheet. Okay, so let me cut the product strip off. Okay, so I've got this one, that'll be the tag. These are my extras. And then this middle or second section, cut those. I love the guest check. The little, the ticket. So we'll use this one, and then we're gonna use these two and that one. Okay, so I think that is it for our cutting. Unless there's something I'm forgetting since it's early in the morning, but I'm pretty sure that's all of our pieces. So I'm gonna get my trimmer out of the way and get my paper out of the way, and I'm gonna try to adjust my camera up just a little bit so that you can see my layout as I'm working on it. And we will do the one that says travel time first. Oh, I lied. We'll have to cut off product strips, so I'll need my trimmer for that. So the first one that we will start with is this one, travel time. And it should be with the orange backgrounds. You won't need the robin's egg dot. This is for your photo mats. And I did tell you the size that I used, but if you're not ready to commit to that, you won't need this yet. I put them on just to give you an idea of where I put my photos, but obviously you know what sizes of photos that you have. Okay, and then I'm gonna try to shift my camera real quick. Got my pieces here. Okay. Let's see if we go up a little bit, if I can get the whole thing. Bear with me, sorry. I'm not trying to make anybody nauseous. It takes a second because I'm on a delay with my laptop so that I can actually see what you're seeing. And hopefully you can see pretty much the whole page now. Okay. And then if I end up bumping it again, somebody just shoot me a comment and let me know if I bump it with my head. All right, so I am gonna take the product strips off of my background pieces. I like using a subtle pattern as a background. I think that has kind of shifted over the years because traditionally everyone just used plain cardstock for a background. I like having the extra design, and I think this is cool paper because you can see Colorado, Idaho, all the states. It's a legit map, and the backside's cute too. But I wanted to use this for our background. And then just FYI, I will have some collection packs of the whole thing tonight in the sale if you're interested in getting the whole paper set, because I don't think with this kit you end up seeing just a fraction of it. You can see most of it in the 6x8 paper pad. Okay, so I went ahead and prepped this, and then I've got my backgrounds. So we're gonna start on the left page first. That's typically how I do it, maybe because I'm left-handed. That's just typically where I start. pieces in order. So for the left page, you should have 2 pieces of this green with like the white plus signs on it. So we're going to use the smaller one. It's going to end up laid out here. Then you should have this navy airplane paper, and we're going to use the smaller one laid out here. A paper strip that's this colorful gingham. Okay, and then we cut our pieces that we need for our title, and those came from our 6x8 paper pad. So we should have this piece, which is the, whatever these are called, the markers of where you're visiting, and then our travel time. And the other thing that I used on this layout is a corner rounder. And so I'm gonna pull mine out so that I have that too. All right, so I wasn't done cutting. Need to trim this again. All right, so for our title, I'm gonna trim this down to 6x6 so that it's a nice title piece that's kind of in the middle. So you just need to take 1 inch off the top and 1 inch off the bottom. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and round this. My corner rounder, this is a 3/8 inch. It doesn't matter, it's just my personal preference for when I'm cutting them. Geotag, thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Okay, so we've got this piece. Our other piece from our 6x8 pad, what we're gonna do is just cut this one in half this way. So you're gonna turn it, and you want it to be 4-inch piece. So you've got a 4x6, or a 6x4, and a 6x4. And that's gonna go on either side of our title piece when we lay it down. Okay? Get the scraps out of the way. All right, so the only other corner on this one that I'm going to round is the edge on my strip here, and then I'm going to ink. And I'm going to use navy ink. I think for this one, you don't have to ink at all, but I think you could go brown, black. It doesn't matter. It's kind of, I feel like she used everything, every color imaginable, so it's kind of your call. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and ink the pieces here. So this past week, Maddie, my middle daughter, turned 12 on Monday. And the only thing that she wanted for her birthday was a guinea pig. We have never had pets before. We are a very allergic family, so dogs, cats, none of it. We can't have it. But she researched all summer about guinea pigs, and that was what she really wanted. And so while we were in the process of researching all of this, she found out that really guinea pigs are social and emotional animals and do better with a friend. So that becomes guinea pigs, plural. And then she found some at the Humane Society that she had her eye on. And so we went on Monday and visited with the pigs for about an hour or so, and then we adopted them. So my life has changed this week a lot because it now revolves around these guinea pigs. So this morning I got up at 7, and Tracy, the geotag paper looks smaller than 6x4 compared to the 6x6. You're right. Yeah, I think there might be, yeah, let's see. Yeah. That looks about right. So it needs to be the 5. Thanks, Tracy. Good call. Okay, so what I did was I took 1 inch off of it. So now we still have our 4 inches here, but we have only 5 inches this way. And then you're right, then it leaves the border so that it stands out a little bit more. And I am gonna pop up this piece, so that helps it give that dimension too. Thank you, Tracy. And then I'm gonna re-ink those. Okay, so life this morning, I got up at 7 and showered and had to go take care of the pigs, clean the cage and feed them, because basically their life is eat and poop, kind of just like a baby. So it's been interesting. Let's say I've learned a lot this week, and I'm trying to come up with simpler solutions to cleaning up after them. I am going to put my foam adhesive on the back of this so that it's prepped and ready, and then I'm gonna start adhering my larger pieces. So yeah, they eat a cup of vegetables per day, so half a cup in the morning and half a cup in the evening, fresh vegetables. They have to have vitamin C, they have to have pellets, they have to have water. Thanks, Kim. I didn't know that they each poop 100 times per day. And they're still very skittish. They're not excited about us yet. They were at the Humane Society. Another family took them home, and apparently the family had a 2-year-old and didn't realize how much work was involved. And then they brought them back. And there was nothing wrong with the pigs. There was no incidents of biting or anything else. But to me, they seem rather traumatized. So I'm wondering if the 2-year-old might have squeezed them or loved them a little too much. So they're getting better. They're still not happy to see us, but they're learning the routines. And one is we think their names are Cinnamon and Ginger, and we think Cinnamon is the older sister, maybe. She's kind of the aggressive one, and Ginger is kind of the whiner. But Cinnamon will steal Ginger's food and her bedding, just everything, just because she can. So now I've had to make sure I have 2 water bottles and 2 of the exact same bed and 2 of the same bowls, and it's just like adding 2 more children to our house. And I'm trying to get them on a normal schedule, because the Humane Society closed at 6 p.m. every day. So the guinea pigs kind of just are done at 6 o'clock. They don't want us around. And so I'm in there, I've got all the lights on and making noise, and we're trying to get them on more of a 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. type schedule, especially with school starting in the next week or so. So yeah, that was our excitement for the week. And I am fully in charge this weekend because Maddie is gone. She went to South Dakota. So what I did was I was adhering while I was talking. I adhered the geotag paper. It's about a 1 inch that I left. I've got my mat here behind me. So I left about a 1 inch margin. I used the foam squares for my travel time title. So it's popped up. And then, the same thing down here, about a 1 inch margin. And then I am going to adhere the pieces over here. Okay, and I would say that it's about a 1/2 inch margin, top and bottom, that's left. Again, I pretty much eyeball it, but that's my guess. Okay, so we've got that piece, and then I'm going to adhere the strip. All right, now we can add a few of our accent pieces, and this is where, if you wanted to add those photo mats, this is where they'll go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut my photo mats that I need for this side. And they're going to be 3 by 3. You're gonna need 2 of those. And then the other one is gonna be that 2.5 by 2.5 that matches the little key that we cut. Now, when you're printing your photos, if you want to print a smaller size like this, I recommend the Project Life app, which you can put on your phone for free. And then you can actually do a 2x2 photo. You can do 6 of them on one 4x6 photo and just print it as you normally would. And then you have the smaller ones, and it looks great on that photo mat. Okay, so this is my key card that we cut earlier. Those are going to get layered here. And then I've got my 2 photo mats. Oh, and you know what? I think I missed that airplane. I think that was from our original 3x4 when I was chatting, and yep, here it is. This one right here in the middle. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and ink these. And the only one that I will add foam adhesive on is the key. I'm not going to pop this one up because eventually I want to write on it. Maybe if I already knew what my photos were and I was gluing everything down right now, I would write first and then pop it up just to give accent. But kind of as a rule of thumb, if it has the journaling on it, it goes flat. This is the Simple Stories Color Vibe cardstock. I think I own every single color now, and I use it on pretty much all of my kits. I love it. It's, if you're familiar with Bo Bunny, it's very similar to when they had Double Dot, and it's either they're not making it or it's gotten so hard to find that, yeah, I don't have any anymore. So the Simple Stories is my favorite. I love the weight of it. This sounds crazy, but when the box gets delivered, the smell, it smells wonderful. They have a really nice color palette, not too many colors. Sometimes I get overwhelmed like with the basil and too many colors that they're constantly retiring. And when I saw Amber from Simple Stories in April, I said, please don't add any more colors, except I need a good purple, because they really only have one purple right now. And it's lilac, I believe. And it's just not, well, it's not my favorite. I would like an eggplant or something similar. Okay, so I added my foam squares here, and I'm going to adhere these. Right. And then this one is popped up right there. And I'm going to do the same thing. Line up my cards over here. And I'm hugging them closer to the center so that you don't notice the page break. And leaving more of the margin where this gingham or plaid is. And just kind of eyeballing the spacing. I'm going to leave a little more room because I have that adventure word that's going to go in between the airplane and the photo mat. This is real scrapbooking. Yeah, I like the photo mats just because I love color, and anytime I can add another little pop of color. I also like, printing the white border on my photos. I think that looks great too, but yeah, I've kind of gotten hooked on the mats. Okay. And again, for these are the 3x3 that we cut. I would do these in the Project Life app too. They have a photo that's a 4x6, but you can drop in 2 3x4 inch photos and be able to print it that way. And that's how I would do these to get the smaller size. Okay, so everything that's left on this side is going to be a die cut or enamel dots. So that's all just the fun extra stuff. So let's go ahead and put together the other side. I'm gonna shift this over so we can do our other base piece. So we have traveled, I would say a fair amount this summer. July, I feel like we were gone a lot. We always go to South Dakota. That's where my in-laws are. So we went there for 4th of July. And then we just got back from Hilton Head. So I need more beachy paper that, so that I can document that. Looks like I bumped this again. Let's see. If not, I'll just pull this up so you can see the bottom. Okay. So for this side, we're going to use the larger green piece with the plus signs and stick it up here. Okay. And then the larger of the airplane piece is going to go down here. And then you should have this 4x6 accent piece. If you don't, that was why I had us tear this out. I couldn't remember if I added it in at the last minute or not. So that's going to be an accent for one of our photo mats. And then we cut these 2 cards. And what I'm going to do is just snip a triangle off on each side and turn these into tags. And those we're going to end up tucking in before we adhere down this navy piece. Okay. So for right now, let's cut these, make them into tags. And once you cut one, if you want it to match, you can hold the piece on the other side and then cut the other one. Okay. So then you know that that's matching. All right, so I've got those ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is ink, get my pieces ready here. So when we go to Sioux Falls, especially this year for 4th of July, it was hot. It was like 105 heat index every day. I mean, we're not used to humidity anymore, so we were almost sick. I mean, it was very, very warm, but we just spend most of the time in the pool because my in-laws have a pool in their backyard. So we do that. And that's where 2 of my girls are right now with my husband. But we end up, you know, taking quite a bit of photos. And sometimes when we're there, we'll road trip up to Mall of America or go the other direction in South Dakota and head towards the Mount Rushmore area. This paper would be good for, I feel like any sort of travel trip, but especially where you've had to fly, because you've got the tags, you've got the airplane, and I feel like with the maps and stuff, it kind of goes with it. So even just documenting your airport, I think it would work really well. Okay, so I've inked all of these. I'm gonna go ahead and cut my photo mats and get those inked too. And the photo mats for this one are, oh, thank you, Irene. Oh, you're in the car. I feel like I've lived in the car a lot this summer. So many activities. I feel like with my kids especially, we've tried to make up for lost time because of COVID in the last couple summers, and we had double or triple the amount of stuff that we normally have. Okay, so one is going to be a 4x6. That's kind of your feature photo that we're going to mat the colorful paper behind. The other one is a 4x4 there. And then we have one more that's going to be the 3x3. I don't know where my scrap, this might be, yeah, this is my scrap from earlier. Okay. So I will go ahead and ink these, and then we'll be ready to glue this side down. Yeah, so then after our South Dakota trip, we were back for a week, and I did a one-night escape with some ladies from my mom's group, and we went to the Gaylord in Denver. So it was kind of a staycation for us. But we had talked months ago, and we had said, what would we want to do for us? You know, like just a day away. And unanimously, we said a cabana and the lazy river. So that's what we did. We went on a Tuesday. So surprisingly, the Gaylord was not busy. It was full of men at a convention, some sort of car convention. And I say men because I think we saw maybe one woman the whole time. It was all men there for it. And yeah, we rented a cabana and ordered drinks and food and hung out by the pool for one day, and it was heavenly. It was so nice to escape. Plus, it's a whole different feeling at the pool when you're not constantly taking care of someone else or worrying that someone's going to drown or someone's hungry. It was really great. So I have photos from that too this summer that I need to scrapbook. And then the week after that, we headed to Hilton Head. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, I'm just gonna move these out of the way for a second, and I'm going to adhere my pieces. And I have my other side of my layout here so that I can kind of match it up. If you're using a ring binder, a ring album as your scrapbook, it doesn't matter as much. If you have more of a post-bound, you can tell if they don't perfectly line up. So again, that's a type A Lindsay thing. And I did not round the corners on this side. Sometimes on a layout you'll see it balanced where the corners are rounded, you know, at all the outer edges. And I didn't do it because I wanted to draw your eye this direction. I wanted it to look this way because that's where your title is. It's all kind of flowing this direction. And I try to, no, hold on. We didn't tuck this in. So luckily this isn't stuck all the way down yet. I even said it earlier. Oh, we're going to tuck this in. And then guess what? I didn't tuck it in. Okay, so I'm going to adhere my tags, and I just put it a little bit at an angle. I wanted to be able, the word vacation is going to end up covered up anyway with die cuts. Hold on, let me put my photo here as like a placeholder so I can see. And then I'm gonna tuck the other tag in right here. And this one you do see the barcode and the numbers, but on the other one, it's going to end up covered up. Okay, so I've got my tags in. Now I've got this adhered right there. Okay. As a general rule of thumb, when you're doing a layout, you want one photo to be more of your feature photo. And I try to always make that a 4x6. So an easy way to add a pop of color is to put one of your cute pieces of paper behind it that's just peeking out a little bit. And then you've got an extra photo mat, if you will. This one's still 4x6. You could go even bigger and do a bigger mat behind it. But for me, this just gives the extra pop of color that I like to see. And so what I'm going to do is adhere the photo mat to the frame, and the frame's gonna be a little bit of an angle. My watch is telling me to stand up, and it doesn't realize that I am standing. I'm standing all day today. Told Gail I've got to put my tennis shoes on because my feet will be hurting later on if I don't. So in my sample, it looks like I did it straight on. This time I did it a little bit angled. It's totally up to you how much of that piece that you want to see. Oh, thanks, Lissa. I appreciate it. Okay. And then we're going to add this photo op tag, but it's going to kind of overlap our photo. So what we want to do, we've got our photo here. And since I don't have my photo to put down yet, I'm going to use foam squares, but I'm not going to stick it on this side. So I will flip this over. I'm just gonna do 2 foam squares, that's plenty. And what I'll do is I'll only peel off this one and stick it down right here. And then once I have my photo, I'll peel off the other one. And then we're gonna have room here to add a few more die cuts. Okay, so here is my photo op. And then my last piece that I hadn't adhered was this photo mat up here. Okay, and again, keeping in mind that I'm going to fill this in. Now is the fun part, right? To be able to add all of the accents. I love enamel dots. I feel like these were the solution I was waiting for all those years of eyelets and brads. I loved eyelets and brads, but I hated poking it through my paper and then trying to slip it in the protector and it catches on it. It's just not good. So enamel dots are, yeah, they're the solution. So you have a package of these, they match perfectly. You'll see them as an accent. I tend to use them in 3s. They look better as a triangle, but that's just my personal preference. You can also use them more as, well, we're going to put them on the tags right here. So that they fit perfectly in those circles. Sometimes they fit great in flowers. Yeah, there's just all sorts of uses. So we're going to need these. And then, oh, I should have got my plate. I forgot my little lemon plate to be able to sort my pieces. Okay, so this can get overwhelming, especially if you're using like Doodlebug, just because there are a lot of pieces in there. I'm only going to pull the pieces right now for this layout, and then we'll go through the pile again later when we're doing the second one. Okay, so don't need that. A lot of these we use for the second one. This is an example of you have several words in here. If you don't want to use travel or adventure like what we're going to use, you've got journey. Okay, so travel we need. We're going to end up using that. I tried to stay away from a lot of the flowers. You'll have a lot of floral left, which would be good for cards, but it just depends on what you're going for with the layout. But I just tried to shy away from the floral papers and the flowers for this one. I wanted it to be more of the roadmap travel. Okay. Oh, you're welcome, Lori. I just like to hear myself talk, right? No, it helps to think through the process, you know, why you're truly doing things. Okay. So I pulled out our word adventure. These. We're going to use this one, this Born to Travel. That's going to go here with our photo op. Oh, there's a big geotag. Just kind of going through the pile here. The pretzel bites we're going to layer over here on the tag. The Let's Fly Away got up here with the travel. I love the little neck pillow. It's so cute. I don't think I used it though. Got some more pretzels. All right, the flags we do use, they're going to be above our title card over here. The suitcases we also use. The camera. Yeah, and I like these. She did these kind of as an accent, and I like these little pieces, but I don't know that I didn't use them on this layout, but they're super cute. The coffee cup. Let's go, Starlight Motel. Oh, here we go. Here's our drink. It's gonna go over here. The little compass. We're gonna add up here to the Let's Fly Away. The pack your bags, like your TSA little flyer is going to go here. The one geotag, this one is kind of that sea foamy mint color. That's going to go down at the bottom here. Vacation mode tag is going to go over here. Okay, that's all of our pieces for this one. So it ends up being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pieces. And that's about what I average on a layout. So when you're buying product and wondering, you know, how far it will go, I mean, this is 48 pieces. And if you're using 14 or 15 per layout, that means you can do at least 3 layouts with this. And some people only like 1 embellishment. Some people like tons and tons. So it's personal preference, but this is kind of where I'm at with it. For the most part, they will all have foam adhesive. The only ones that will be truly flat, like this travel, I'm going to put down flat, but then pop this one up above it, just so that you can see the layers. The pretzels will go flat, but then pop the other ones above it. So I'm just going to kind of work left to right and add my foam squares. I need the small ones too. All right. So start with my flags up here. And the flags, I did a little bit, one higher than the other. So I had the blue one a little bit higher than what the pink one is. And then right where the flags are, that's going to be your first set of enamel dots. And I used this, it's the second line, this kind of the turquoisey color. And I did small, medium, large as my triangle here. So I just going to add those right there. And then it just gives it a little, I don't know, just a little extra, you know, like kind of like adding the earrings or the accessory to your outfit. It just gives it a little bit something. I'm going to add this geotag down here by my photo mat. And then on the travel time, there's actually another set of the enamel dots, and it's the golden, the yellow, mustard, I think is what. And again, it's small, medium, large. Oh, get that off of there. Okay, and then we're going to add our word adventure, and we're going to add our camera. So adventure, these smaller ones work well because you don't have to cut. I mean, you can cut the larger ones. I do that a lot too when I'm in a hurry and not wanting to go find more of the small ones. Okay, so I've got my word adventure there. And last but not least, my adorable camera. And then we also have some dots there. And those are pink. They're not, these don't use up all your large ones for the pink because we need them on the tags on the other side. So it looks to me like it's, I don't have my sample in front of me, but I'm going to guess that what I did was a medium and 2 smalls of the pink right here by the camera. Okay. And then on our second page, like I said, I'm going to put this Born to Travel tag flat. So use my adhesive for that. And then this one, I'm going to do the same trick I did earlier. I'm going to use 2 small foam squares, but I'm only going to peel off the bottom because it's going to overlap my photo, and I don't have my photo down yet. So just have it stick right there. And then when I do have my photos and I'm ready to commit, I'll just peel both of these pieces off. All right, so I've got that one. I'm going to go to my suitcases. Some foam on those. Oh, I'm just throwing everything on the floor. Gail was laughing at me earlier because I have a Roomba in the basement, and I've had it for years, but I talk to it. I call it a he, but it's wonderful. It's such a lifesaver, and it will have a heyday later with all of these paper pieces. going. Okay, so we've got our suitcase on. I'm gonna go ahead and add the large pink circles right in the middle of my tag. This would also be a good place if you wanted to add twine or ribbon. You can put it in there too. You could hole punch it and stick it in. But I love the enamel dots. Okay, so then this cluster right here, I'm going to do my foam squares for the vacation mode tag. Okay, and then also the drink. I don't know what that is. Maybe like a lemonade. I don't know. It doesn't really, maybe it's tea, green tea. It doesn't really look like coffee. And then the pretzels, I'm gonna do flat. So I'm just gonna kind of play with this cluster before I commit to adhering. Oh, and I did do the little pretzels, did I? Oh yeah, I'm doing the wrong one there. I did pack your bags in the pretzels. Well, for today, I'm gonna do the pretzel bites. That's okay. Okay, so then I layered that right here. And typically with something like this, the rule of thumb is odd numbers are more pleasing to the eye. A visual triangle, the threes, that's kind of what you want to go for when you're doing the clusters. That's why we're doing threes with most of the enamel dots. This ends up being a 3. That's just a basic design thing that you'll hear over and over. So for the travel tag, I am going to do the same thing with my foam adhesive, and whoops, I got one stuck to my fingernail there. Only going to peel off the one part. Okay. And then I'm going to add foam squares to my Let's Fly Away, and then the smaller little compass. And then just kind of tuck this one in with travel. Make sure north is north. Put that one right there. And then I've got some dots that I can add. So I'm gonna add the turquoise down here at the bottom. Small, medium, large. That's what I did for this one. Whoops. Okay, I've had this problem with Simple Stories. This guy doesn't want to stick. And I had this with one other line too. And I don't know if it's something, it's only been Simple Stories because I use a lot of enamel dots. So I'm adding a little drop of liquid adhesive. Don't ever be afraid to add adhesive to your embellishments. Don't trust, especially if you have chipboard, oh my goodness, don't trust their adhesive ever. But sometimes like this in the factories and stuff, that one didn't have adhesive on it, and then it peeled off on the paper, and yeah, so I just added a little bit of liquid glue. Problem solved. And then up here, it's the mustard. And I did the same thing, the small, medium, and large. All right. And there we have it. That is our complete page. So we finished travel time. Is everybody doing okay with the pace? I'm gonna take a drink of water here. My laptop decided to go to sleep again, so I'm gonna reboot it. It did this yesterday too, and I'm not sure why, so it might make noise as it comes back up, but I wanna be able to see comments without looking back at my phone. Okay, all right, so we are going to jump right in to our second layout. Hold on, let me type my, okay, looks like I haven't missed anybody's comments. Okay, there, I've got my laptop going again so that I can see it all. Okay, so I'm gonna put this one aside. It's ready to go. And we're gonna switch to our other one, which is called let's go. Set it back here. And for this one, a lot of our pieces are gonna come from this super fun page pieces pack. Simple Stories started doing this, I don't know, a year or two ago. And it just makes life so simple because you've got a title, you've got it. And again, it's about 12 pieces. So it's pretty much all you need for a layout. And it, you know, they've kind of taken the thought, and they even have a suggestion on the back. That's a little more basic than what I tend to do, but these are great to pick with whatever collection or paper and just be able to add it. And they have them for all the sports and holidays, and they keep coming out with more and more. So I wanted to include one of those. Later on today, I do have a few extras of these and the bits and pieces. And then I do have the foam stickers and the puffy stickers, which I didn't include in your collection. So those will be for sale. And then we have the full collection packs too, but that'll be tonight when we do sales and things. It was so hard because, you know, you're hearing on the news, supply chain. I would say every month since April, I get another email from a company that they're raising prices. Doodlebug, the prices went up a lot. And it's hard because we love our paper and I don't want to give it up, but at the same time, I also want them to survive, but you know, it's hard when the costs are skyrocketing so much. Okay, so we are going to start with, you can't see it, but your background pieces are actually just plain white cardstock. And then we're gonna layer these pieces on top of it. Okay, so you should have 2 of the white cardstock, so you don't have to trim those at all. And then the one that you will have to trim, move these out of the way, is this piece of dandelion. Again, this is that color vibe, the Simple Stories that I love. And I'm just gonna trim the product strip off of this one, and it will be for our photo mats. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut my photo mats for the left page. That's what we're gonna start with. And then have just, that way I'll have those ready to go. Actually, I think I'm gonna cut them all. So I'm gonna do 4-inch and then 6, because I'm gonna need 2 4x6s. So I've got those cut and ready to go. And then for my next one, I'll do 4-inch again. And I'll do a 4x4 and 2 3x4s. And that's all the photos that I chose for this. You can always squeeze in more. There's definitely room where we're going to add the little cars and stuff that you can fit in more, but we've got that cut for now, just to give myself table space. Okay, same thing. We're gonna start on the left page. And we're gonna use this plus paper again, the kind of green plus paper. You need the larger piece of it that we're going to adhere there. And then you should also have this, oh, well, hopefully you have it. Mine's missing my roadmap paper. Hold on, I'll get it. So that actually makes me think of something. If you have any mistakes at all, if you have anything missing in your box, anything, I'm human and things happen and it's summer and it's crazy, please just send me a message. If you tell me here in the chat, I probably won't remember which chat it was in, but if there's anything at all that you don't have something, just either email me or messenger me and I will fix it. Because it happens. It's just life. And the virtual events are a lot to work through and plan. Okay, so I'm missing my blue map paper. Gail, I'm gonna ask my assistant to run and get me a piece of it. So you should have your blue map paper, and what's going to happen is they're going to overlap right here, and then we'll end up popping this up in the middle. Can you do me a favor? Yeah. I'm missing this travel paper right here in my own kit. It's this blue roadmap. Oh. So in there by the kitchen counter, yeah. All the travel paper is in a bin. It's all together and it'll be there. So I'm so grateful for Gail. She spent the night here last night, and she's actually working on going through sales right now and getting everything ready for tonight. And it's just wonderful. I think Lauren is still in bed. So, because she's promised she's going to help too, but we'll see. But she may end up just on poop patrol for the guinea pigs because, yeah, that just may be how it is. So the other pieces that we're going to use for this, after we get this down, that check-in, check-out card, which we've got right here. And then we're going to need our license plates for the left are too wide. Oh, I wonder if the license plates I didn't pre-trim for you so that you could have you trim it yourself and kind of eyeball, and then mine is already trimmed. It might be. So if so, I would just eyeball it and trim it down, and then you've got, because I'm going to take a little bit off of there, that's going to bother me, and then we'll end up gluing it down, and that way you can decide which one that you want. All right, I have my roadmap paper. Let me cut it really quick to 3.5. Okay, so then for your license plate one, Tracy, just slice it down the middle, and then if you have excess, I'm just gonna trim a tiny bit off so they match a little better. Okay. All right, so what I was saying is these should meet. And then what you're going to do is kind of layer the license plate on top of the seam. And that's just how the cutting was easiest to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and adhere these flat. Okay. And then adhere this one flat too. My license plate strip, I'm probably not going to bother inking it because I don't think you're going to be able to see it with that dark navy edge. If you trimmed much closer to the actual plates, then you would be able to. I'm going to ink my mats and my check-in card in just a second, but let me start. So what I did on this one, I just kind of scattered the foam dots. I kind of just spread them out because you don't want to have like that valley where it sinks in, but I also didn't want to use 100 squares. So I've got these spaced out. I'm going to take all the backing off. And then for this one, we're going to need to find our die cuts sooner rather than later, just so we can do all the spacing correctly. Because like we need that top, kind of that old-fashioned motel or Vegas sign. Okay, and then I'm just gonna layer it, center it right on the seam and put it right like that. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and ink the edges of these. My ink pad is shedding a little bit today. I'm a pretty fast inker, I know that, so if things are ever going too quickly, let me know. But I sit and ink things a lot while I'm watching TV or sitting at night with the kids, because I do like some pre-made baby albums on my Etsy page, and they're pretty labor intensive, so I need to do it in batches. So one night I'll just sit and ink for hours and get all of those prepped and ready to go. Okay, so I have these, and then what I'm going to do is get our die cuts too. Now, some of the die cuts are in your package, so we don't have to go to the main one yet because we're going to use these. So we're just going to open this, the page pieces one. That way we don't have to dump out all the others yet. Okay. So like your title, that's going to go on page 2. This is going to go down here. This is that marquee that I was talking about that we're going to need. Move these little confetti pieces aside. Again, the florals, I tried to stay away from. So you'll have the extra florals. You're going to have an extra of the tag. The geo tag, we do use one of them on the other page. So you'll have that. And then I don't think I used the ticket on this one. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of lay these out before I adhere, and then we'll dig into the other pack and see. So I did a 6x4 at the bottom, then the check-in, check-out card, which I will pop that up, even though I had said earlier, this one's technically not journaling. You'd just be writing your dates. Okay, and then this one will end up popped up. All right, and then we're going to have our road trip piece here, and then mainly I want it for this part to see where that all fits. Okay, so if you have your bits and pieces, some of these I'm going to pull that they're going to go for the second page. So like this will go on page 2. The motel goes on page 2. Here's our other little bus, VW bus that we need. No florals. Here's my road trip word. The map we'll need on page 2. The gas tank. This reminds me of Cars, the movie. This would be good maybe for Cars Land, because this actually goes with all of it. See, I always have Disney on the brain, and that I'm just like, oh yeah, that would be like Fillmore, and yeah, it could be Cars Land. Sorry, I digress. Okay, so we're not going to use those. The open road, this one we did use. Yeah, and Route 66, this could all be for cars. Could work for it. There were my pretzels that I didn't use on the other one. Okay, and then I did use one of the confettis. It doesn't matter which one that you pick, because there were some in the page pieces. The little bottle cap that says "Let's go," we need on the other page. The coffee cup we need on the other page. The Starlight Motel, we need that one. And then I believe that's it. I think we've got all of our pieces. So I'm going to put these back in. So you still have a pretty good chunk of pieces left that you can create more with, which is nice. I like attending retreats or doing the virtual ones where I still have product that I can customize to what I want, or, you know, make something else afterwards. So you still have plenty there to be able to do it with. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stick it all down. Every single piece is popped on this side, with the exception of this bigger car. I did half regular tape runner, half foam dots, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my photo mat down here. And then my VW buses. I'm going to do 4 on this one. This one is going to be already half popped up, so I'm only going to put the foam dots on this side of it, the left side, and then this side will be adhered because it's going to get adhered to my license plate strip. I'm not going to stick it down just yet. And then my gas tank. I can put on here. All right. So I've got my gas tank right here. Then I'll add this one, and then this one gets tucked. I probably could have done the same on this one, half adhesive, half foam dots, but that's okay. You just don't want it popped up too much when you're trying to fit it in a page protector, but that worked. Okay, so we've got those. And then I had said, I'm going to pop this one up because it's just the date that you'll be writing. It's not like you'll be writing a story of what happened. So if you end up putting adhesive, kind of eyeballing it where you'll be writing so that it gives it that support, it should help it not to bow later when you're working on it. So I know that's kind of a random place to put the dots, but I just want to give it that little bit of support. I tend, again, I'm a lefty, so I tend to have too much pressure when I'm writing. All right. I'm going to add this one and then add my 4x4 photo mat next to it. I've been on 4x4, like a square photo kick. I don't know why, but I love them for right now. And I see a lot of layouts where they have one 4x4 photo, which I like to have more than that, but I just like the square. Okay, so I'm going to do the road trip with the smaller foam adhesive. And I'm just, where the AD is here, I'm just not going to peel that one off because it'll overlap on my photo mats. So I've got that right here. And then at the top here, I'm going to add a 4x3. Again, I would use the Project Life app to make your photos that size. And then this one, I love this piece. This way to fun. I'm going to put one on the arrow and then add my foam squares to this. And then we'll add our enamel dots because of course we need a few accents on here. Okay. And then we're going to use this, I guess it's dandelion, not mustard. I was calling it mustard earlier. So the dandelion, I'm going to do a small, medium, large right here. Okay. And then down here by the road trip, these are actually the gray color, which I don't think we've used yet. And I did a small, medium, large there. Okay, and then that is our left page. Is everybody doing okay? Everybody with me? We're doing great on time. Okay, so then for our page 2, I'm going to shift this over, and then we will get our white cardstock. Okay. All right, so on our white cardstock, this time we're gonna use the other piece of that green plus paper, and then we've got the pink roadmap that's gonna line up, and then it's gonna be the same situation where these should meet exactly, and then we'll put the license plates on the seam here. And I didn't ink these on the other side because you really can't see. I mean, if you want to ink the outer edges when you're all done, you can, but you don't see this seam at all. So to me, it didn't really serve a purpose. So I did not do it. Okay, let's start with the pink. So adhesive, I like the runner that I have right now. I know people are very, very loyal about their adhesive, and I am too. But I wanted to share that I will have refills on sale later. I do have a few of the actual dispensers if you need it, but I had called, I was trying to get more adhesive in stock. I was completely sold out on my Etsy site, and I needed it for me because designing, I go through a lot of adhesive, and nothing on the website. I couldn't find any on Notions or any of the other places where I can usually order. And so I reached out to my rep, and Scrapbook Adhesives is actually, they're in Illinois. And anyway, she got back to me, and supply chain-ish again. She's like, well, the company that makes the plastic for the refills went on strike. So it's kind of similar to the baby formula situation where it shut everything down and there were no refills for quite a while. So now the strike is over, but she said it will be months before they can recover and kind of recoup and get caught up. So she was very sweet and sent me a case of refills. So just FYI, in case you notice that you're running low on adhesive and you don't see it at your typical stores, I do have some, but that might be why it's missing. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and peel these off. This is my license plate strip. Hopefully everybody got theirs cut and ready. I'm just gonna lay a 3x4 card here so that I don't go too close. So I'm gonna go a little bit, not quite centered when I lay my license plate strip down, because I want that 3x4 card to fit with a little bit of a margin around it. It's not much, but that way I can see it. So it's a little bit off to the side. Okay, and then we're going to be adding that guest check and the "We Are Open" sign. So the "We Are Open" I'll end up popping up. This one will be flat because, again, that's going to be your journaling and writing, and you don't want to write on it when it's popped up like that. Okay, so just giving those a little bit of ink. And we'll get those stuck down, and then we can work on the main event here with the title and your feature photo and all of that. Okay, so what I did here was I didn't want all the lines to be the same. I wanted to break up how the lines go just a little bit. So like this is a little bit higher, the welcome. So then that shifts your photo mat up a little bit. It just adds a little more visual interest. I mean, some people want it the same straight all the way across, and that's fine too. Just for me, I like having it a little, I mean, that's kind of as crazy as I get, right? Like that's because I'm very visual and I like things in a grid and organized, but it is nice and pleasing to the eye sometimes to shift just a little bit, add some interest. Okay, and then I'm going to peel off my foam squares on this and add this. I love this diner sign. "We are open." Okay. All right. So now we're going to work on this pink area, which is kind of our main part, our showcase piece. So we tore out this piece from our 6x8 paper pad. Again, I like this better because it's the smaller design, and I think the accent goes better. And then you have the larger one here and the smaller one here. You have this piece, which is another piece of the color vibe. I think this is Midnight, that goes with the collection. So what we're going to do is layer the two pieces and then be able to add our photo mat and our title and all the fun extras on it. So this next part is really just eyeballing where you want it to go. I mean, you want it to fit, but it's kind of up to you how much you want to see of the license plates at the top. And maybe you don't want the license plates at all. Maybe you want, you know, I don't think you'd want that because it's tone on tone, but maybe you would want a different paper from your paper pad. But this is just a nice way to add that, again, the pop of color, the extra pattern, the detail, and not overwhelm your eye at the same time. Because this is busy. I realize for a lot of people, this is very, very busy for their eyes. I'll try to ink this. I don't know that it'll even show up. Yeah, maybe a little. It's hard to see. Gives it a little bit of a shadow on the edge. Ink pads are another thing that's been in short supply. It's something to do with the actual pad on the ink pad that have been hard to get, I guess. I'm not sure where it's manufactured, probably China, and that's what's made it difficult. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick this one onto the license plate one, just to kind of see. I want to be able to see probably like 2 rows. About like that is where I've got mine. And then I'll flip it over and add adhesive. Okay. And then just kind of, I want it more towards the top because I have a lot of die cuts and elements I'm going to add to the bottom. There we go. And then we're going to add this big photo mat. This is a nice big space so that if your photo, you want it to be this way and not this way, if you know that you tend to take more of this, then by all means switch it. It will still work. That's kind of why you have this big 6x8 piece to be able to do it. For this design, I did it vertically. We're also going to, this is our title from our page pieces. I'm just gonna set it here for right now so that I can see. And then I need that card. So I will use foam adhesive for the Let's Go piece, and I will also use foam adhesive for this card. This would also be cute if you just cut out the words, you know, and layered those somewhere. Like I think that was I like cards like this where it's easy to trim around it and use that as an accent piece. Kind of like what we were doing with the Christmas set. Okay, some foam squares. I'm gonna go ahead and, so I put them on the back of this one, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put them on the back of my title so that I have it ready to go. And I'm gonna use 2 of the smaller ones down here on my title. Okay, and then this is gonna go a little bit lower because we're going to have some cute accents up here. But right now it looks like it's all fitting, so I'm gonna stick it down. We are good to go. So in the summertime, there's really, if you still have cable, which we do, there's really nothing on TV other than reality shows and game shows. So we've been kind of hooked this summer. We've been watching Pressure Luck, which I watched as a kid. We've also been watching the one, it's called Generation Gap with Kelly Ripa. It's hilarious. The girls just laugh and laugh. It's been such a fun one to watch. And the other night, so what it does, if you haven't seen it, it pairs basically a young child or even a teen with their grandparent usually. So 2 different generations, and then they have to answer a lot of these questions, current events questions for the grandparents, and then older questions for the kids. But what was funny the other night was the little girl that won, she got to pick her grand prize, and she has headphones on, and she gets no influence from the family whatsoever. And they lift up the curtain, and her choices of grand prizes are a brand new car or a unicorn that's motorized. You've seen them maybe at the mall where you ride around on them. And the family in the background is like, oh no. And they're like, just, you know, anticipating what she's going to choose, because I think if I was the little kid, I'd totally choose the unicorn. And, you know, they build up the suspense, and then she finally picked the car, and the family was just so excited. But it's a really funny show. We've enjoyed that. And then we've been, we watch a little bit of America's Got Talent because we knew a few people this time who were on it. So we wanted to see their journey, and, you know, just kind of hit or miss. But I'm ready for some of my shows to come back in the fall. And then Adam and I have been binging a lot of like true crime stuff on Netflix or Hulu. Okay, so I'm going to lay these. I went ahead and adhered these. Let's finish up here first. Let's stay on task here. Okay, so this map with the geotag is going to end up going flat. The open road is going to be popped up, and then the coffee cup is going to be popped up on top of that. All right, so that's going to be our first cluster of 3, and then it will have some enamel dots there too. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this one. And add my foam squares. That one's not wanting to peel off. Okay. And then that good old-fashioned cup of coffee. Do it a little bit lower. Make sure you can still read this one. Okay, so we've got our cluster right there, and then the enamel dots for that one. It's the, I think I'm gonna do the turquoise. I think I did use the gray on the sample, but I think the turquoise shows up better. So I'm gonna do the small, medium, large right here, triangle. Okay, so then we've got this little area done. And then we're gonna do the mustard ones right here under the G in go. The small, medium, large. And then our last little scene at the bottom of this section. I'm gonna do the motel flat as the kind of the background piece, and then I'm going to pop up the Starlight Motel piece and the Take Me Anywhere bus. Move it over a little bit. Okay, and so get those added, and then we'll finish this little piece right here, which I didn't do earlier. Okay, put these on. I'm gonna add my bus first, so then I can kind of scoot the motel under it. The other thing that we watched this summer, which we watched with Lauren and Maddie, was Stranger Things. We were Stranger Things fans, and we were so excited to see the 4th season, and now we have to wait forever for the next season, which I think they're saying like 2 years, but we enjoyed that one together. Noelle picks her own show and hides out or she's in bed when we do it. Okay, I'm gonna slide my motel piece over just a little bit so that it's centered under there. There we go. Okay, and then I have that cluster set up. And then my last one here is going to use, these were from the Page Pieces set. So you have the geotag, you don't have to use pink, you've got extra colors. And then one of the little confetti, these X clusters that you've got, and then the other piece is that bottle cap. Oh, how was it, Kim? I am so jealous. I would love to see what the pop-up store is. And I guess, like, we just got the Friends experience here. I guess there's a Stranger Things experience also. I can't, it's probably in New York. I can't remember off the top of my head. So I'm popping up all 3 of these pieces. Yeah, we did the Friends experience. I think that was in June. It was right when it opened. Oh, it was a blast. I mean, Maddie and Noelle had no idea because they haven't watched the show, but I have watched some of it with Lauren, and I remember, I mean, I remember in college when the season ended and when he said, "I, Ross, take you Rachel," and my whole entire floor of my dorm is like, "Ah!" You know, and then it's over. You have to wait. But yeah, the Friends experience was really cool in Denver. And then they've got Kim also has been to the Office experience, which I would love to go to that one. Okay, I think that is it. I did my dots here, 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 and here. Yeah, I think we are finished. I think that's our 2 travel layouts for our first class. If you have any questions at all, let me know. I'm gonna grab my prize bin. I'm gonna take a drink of water and grab my prize bin here. All right. Okay, so we'll do some do some prizes here. The first one, fun, small, and lots of shopping. Oh, I love Dusty. He's my favorite. Other than Murray. Murray's hilarious. This is Vicki Bouton's newest collection, aside from Christmas, which just hit stores last week. This is from Sweet Rush, and it's got a cute stamp set. I love the daisies. And then we've got tags and a little, I don't know, it's like a little booklet that comes with it. Okay, so our first prize, I'm mixing them up. First prize is Kim. Ironically, I was just talking. She's posting. I'm sorry. I don't know where I set the tape. Hold on. I've got the bin back here, so I might have dropped it in. Okay, the next one. This is the Simple Stories Simple Vintage Coastal paper pad. And we had the bigger sets in the sale last night, I believe. And then, so this is the smaller 6x8 paper pad. And then we paired it with some Prima that I feel like goes with it. It's really pretty, the pinks and the blues. So let's see who this one is. I promise they're mixed up. Digging through. Megan! All right. And then the last one, this is from Paper Whiz. They do, if you ever go to the Scrapbook Expo, they do those amazing layered die cuts. So this is a summer watermelon banner. And then we've also got some really cute chipboard from Simple Stories that matches the other 6x8 paper pad that you got for free in your box yesterday. So this one goes to Lori. Yay, Lori. Okay. All right. Well, if there aren't any questions, we're going to go ahead. Oh, you're welcome. We're going to go ahead and break. It's 10:45. We said lunch was 11:30 to 12:30. So we'll be back at 12:30 Mountain Time to do the summer layouts class. We do have a cut file in the next 2 classes, so you're going to probably want some sort of your liquid fine tip adhesive. Either, I had said the Barely Arts, the Nuvo, there's Gina K, there's other ones. But you will need that. And yeah, I think that, and your die cut. You will need your die cut. So take your selfie if you haven't done it yet, because you're going to be gluing the die cut onto your layout, okay? All right, everyone, enjoy your break and lunch, and we will see you at 12:30.